We'll open the executive session on House Bill 1132, prohibiting the display of flags in public schools not authorized by law and establishing penalties for display of prohibited flags. And I look to Representative Freeman for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move ought to pass.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Representative Litchfield. Discussion, Representative Freeman?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to introduce Amendment 2026-0767H, which added, for simplicity and because of some of the issues raised in the hearing, the word banners as well as school sports teams. One point was that regular Major League sports teams be included. After doing some research, I opted not to include that because I understand that some national sports teams can be tied back to certain gangs. So I believe this fixes the issues that were brought up, and I move to pass this amendment.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Any discussion from the second?
No further discussion.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Representative Woodcock?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question of the amendment maker. So under 1A, United States history classes, I would presume then I could bring in any flag or banner to use in that classroom as I was explaining slavery or gay rights or Black History Month or Cancer Month, anything that shows what occurred in American history. Is that how I read this?
You are correct, Representative.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Representative Selig?
I am still reviewing the amendment and deciding about whether or not I support the amendment, whether it makes the bill any better, but I will certainly be voting against this bill because I view it as curbing free speech and violating the First Amendment. I think it's inappropriate to be saying just prohibiting display of any flags. I think that there's educational purposes to all flags, and I don't think that someone seeing a flag is going to be the impact. Whether I certainly don't want to see swastikas in schools, but if it's part of a unit where people are learning about the impact of World War II and we need to display it so people know what it is and what its origin is, then there should be an educational purpose to it. But I don't think prohibiting flags based on political views and political ideation is appropriate, and I think it's a violation of the First Amendment.
Representative Hall?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a question of the sponsor. On line 17, officially representing the school, could we have a definition of that?
Thank you for the question, Representative. If some schools have their own school flag specifically for school-sponsored sports, so that's what that line intends to do.
Can I have a follow-up? Paul, again, of the sponsor. So if your school has exchange students, is that covered in here? Let's say if you have someone from Spain and they hang the Spanish flag, and they have, is that included in here that it's allowed or not allowed?
If it's for instructional purposes, we're instructing the other students that we have exchange students, that would be allowed. Instructional purposes, and if you have an exchange program representative, then that's part of the instruction.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Murray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, also a question for the Representative Freeman on the amendment draft. Regarding the penalties to educators and the superintendents, I'm curious to know whether or not, it says for the third violation and any other additional violation, the superintendent shall report the violation to the State Board of Ed. I'm curious to know between what else is there a monetary fine associated? I'm looking at 29 and 11 currently, but is there anything else? Because does an educator or a classroom participant, whoever is in violation of this, do they have access to their, whether it's their union representation or anything else in this process?
Thank you for the question, Representative. I would believe that they would have union representation since it would be a penalty against an individual teacher, and as a part of that bargaining unit, they would have representation. So this would not exclude that representation.
Representative Cornell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Another question for the sponsor. On the amended analysis on the backside of the page, it authorizes the State Board of Education to issue monetary penalties. Is there a schedule of what the monetary penalties might be, or how much it would be for different kinds of violations? Or is this just vaguely the State Board can issue monetary penalties up to their discretion?
Relative violations 18917C, 2C, not to excited. Representative, I'm not going to tell you I know the answer to that question. By making this up to $1,000, I would leave it up to the discretion of the Board of Ed or the DOE.
Representative Woodcock?
Thank you. For the maker of the amendment as well, I'd like to follow up on Representative Hall's question. Some of our school systems are made up of a wide culture of youngsters from multiple backgrounds. So when she was talking about a flag, say a Spanish flag for youngsters from the Dominican, from Puerto Rico, or wherever they have Mexico, where we happen to have youngsters in our classes on a regular basis. It wouldn't be just for history class, it'd be on a regular basis. So does this allow then for have their country's flags in our schools?
Thank you for the question, Representative. Representative, if it's being used in an instructional manner, then yes, it would be allowed.
May I follow up, please?
Follow up?
It would be instruction. I mean, I go to that classroom every day. I'm in that school. I'm from a very mixed culture community that has a lot of youngsters on ESL and other programs from different countries. So if I had that country's flag for that youngster in the school, it's not, we're not doing more than like any other. Would that be, or wouldn't that would be acceptable?
I don't think anywhere in this bill that it says that isn't acceptable. What this bill says is it's being used for instructional. If instructional means that you're educating the children in the classroom to the different geography, different flags in different geographical areas, then it would be allowed. Yeah.
Representative Litchfield?
Just a blanket question, but outside of instructional purposes, why is it necessary to have any other flags in the school or the classrooms?
I'll answer that if you may, because we have a lot of immigrants in our schools. We have a wide culture basis in our schools. We have kids from all over the United States, all over the world in our United States schools and in New Hampshire. So it's representative of their country in our schools.
Representative Litchfield?
So we can respect their cultural backgrounds while still letting them know that while in the United States, we have allegiance to the United States flag.
I'll let that go. Thank you.
Representative Murray?
Sure. I am also curious for everyone on page 1, line 20, line 26. The phrase perpetrator is used here as if it were in criminal court or some other context. I just wanted to be careful if we're, is the word perpetrator going to somebody's permanent record if they had a complaint lodged against them? That is something that for displaying a flag, I just wanted to make sure we're not moving towards some other conversation.
Thank you for the question, Representative Murray. No, we're not moving to another criminal.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the criminal court, criminal charges.
Okay. Thank you.
Representative Selig?
Thank you. So I understand that the bill is addressing, it has an exemption for things used in instructional ways. And I just think about the high school where I used to teach, and we had our cafeteria filled with banners from different organizations, whether it was student government organizations, whether it was, student activities, whether it was flags from different countries, because our school hosted an ESL program for our district, whether it was about different things. So this bill talks about instructional spaces, but a cafeteria isn't necessarily an instructional space. So I'm trying to understand how that would get reconciled with this bill. Is it only instructional if it relates to a classroom? Does that mean hallways need to be free of these things unless they're the 3 flags designated? I'm just trying to get clarification on how that's going to work together.
Thank you for the question, Representative Selig. Can I ask you a question? Are you going to vote for this bill?
I don't see how that's relevant to my asking for clarification.
Sure. And I will
I'm
give you
asking for
I will give you the
clarification.
clarification, Representative, but if you are asking these questions knowing full well that you're not going to vote for this bill, then
Excuse me.
I can
Point of
give you
order.
as much
Point of order. That
clarification
is
as you want.
inappropriate for the representative
You've already
to question
stated
my
that you wouldn't
Representative
vote for
Freeman,
this
Excuse
bill.
me. Point of order.
Enough. Representative Freeman, Representative Selig asked you a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As far as I can see, Representative, it would not exclude flags in the lunchroom presenting different countries.
Any other discussion? Representative Damon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to respond to the question of why it would matter to have other flags than the ones allowed in this proposed legislation. I think many different kinds of banners and flags make a statement to whoever enters the space of welcome, of safety, of you belong here. And it saddens me greatly to think that we wouldn't want to provide that sense of welcome and safety.
Representative Litchfield.
I apologize up front for prolonging this discussion. I do have to say that in my children's school, we pay money for them to be in that school. And you know why we pay money for them to be in that school? Because there is zero activism, anything political. There are 0 flags anywhere in any of the hallways, in any of the lunchroom. It does not belong.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, the motion is OTP on the amendment.
Vice Chairman Petronell.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Dry, yes. Representative Belcher.
Yes.
Representative Freeman.
Yes.
Representative Litchfield.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Tenzar.
Yes.
Representative Nato.
Yes.
Representative Cornell.
No.
Representative Murray.
No.
Representative Woodcock.
No.
Representative Hall.
No.
Representative Damon.
No.
Representative Selig.
No.
Representative Kluger.
No.
Representative Snodgrass.
No.
Chairman Noble.
Yes.
10 yeas, 8 nays.
Representative Freeman, do you have another motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move OTPA on House Bill 1132.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill just merely allows public and public charter schools to be neutral, welcoming communities for all students, staff, and visitors, no matter which race, religion, sexual identification, or personal ideology. All children should be in an environment that values them. This bill levels the educational playing field and brings down any barriers to an adequate education. Thank you.
Representative Selig.
To quote from the sponsor, all children should be welcome and all flags should be acceptable.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, the motion is OTPA.
Vice Chairman Petronell.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Dry, yes. Representative Belcher.
Yes.
Representative Freeman.
Yes.
Representative Litchfield.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Tenzar.
Yes.
Representative Nato.
Yes.
Representative Cornell.
No.
Representative Murray.
No.
Representative Woodcock.
No.
Representative Hall.
No.
Representative Damon.
No.
Representative Selig.
No.
Representative Kluger.
No.
Representative Snodgrass.
No.
Chairman Noble.
Yes.
10 yeas, 8 nays.
And I'll be writing the minority report.
Representative Selig. Okay. Close the executive session on 11:32.